Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike. It is the premier business radio program around. I'm a host, Mike King. Appreciate you being here with me. The views expressed here are mine, have no connection to, support of, agreement with any of the host information or ads on the station. I don't work for the station. My program just airs here on a daily basis. Join me as this cutting edge show. We uplift the community and showcase RVA in a different way. Sounds you're listening to, you're coming to you from Mike King Biz Studio, which is the global epicenter of social enterprise business, otherwise known as the ESPN Richmond Studios. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Estes Trucking, Rob White Fast Signs, Andy Taylor and Junk Luggers, Mama Michelle's Cafe, as well as the city of Petersburg, as well as Henrico Economic Development. I'd like to thank them for their support, as well as the Chesterfield Chamber. You can follow me on social platforms, hashtag Mike King Biz, hashtag On the Mic with Mike. It is our honor. So now, I read the disclaimer every day. Not sure how much legal weight it carries, but with this, we have today a legal eagle, Ashley Brooks is here. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All righty. So really quickly, does my disclaimer do anything?
Sure, if people listen to it, they will. You said it nice and slow, so that was good.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
good. All righty.
All of it.
It
Yep,
gets out there. And
that's right.
it really wasn't from a legal standpoint. It was me putting some distance between me and the conservative radio station that scared everybody that I was on.
Or whatever I might say that might scare you.
That is true. Okay, so you're an attorney. Really quickly, this is a business show. Give us your elevator pitch, who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm the managing partner of a local law firm called Schroeder Brooks Law Firm, and we are only entertainment. We're the only law firm in Richmond that does entertainment, anything media related, creative services, television, film, literary, production, music, acting, you name it, advertising, media. That's what we work with, in fashion also.
How do you determine, how did it become that lane right there of media?
Well, I came in about 5 years ago from corporate. So before I was with Schroeder Brooks, I was in corporate counsel, and actually I've never really worked for a law firm until I came to Schroeder Brooks, which is just the three of us now. And so when I got there, it was already entertainment based, but I really wanted to build out a practice based on advertising and media. And so I was able to do that there kind of from scratch, which was great, but with a structure already in place.
One of Mike Ashley Brooks is here with us. So we're talking about, as a managing partner, you set the culture. How do you set a winning culture in an organization? And when you first got there, did you see what needed to be changed, what you'd like to change? And now as a managing partner, how do you set the corporate structure and the culture of, how do you think is a winning formula?
Well, I mean, I think for any business, the winning formula is sort of synergy between the main players. And so when I got there, it was already set. I didn't have to do anything. Managing partner for a 3-person law firm is just, I get to sign stuff.
Okay.
Somebody had to have the title.
Okay. And yeah. So you brought energy, you brought some newness. What did you bring when you came to the organization?
So before I got to Schroeder Brooks, I started right out of law school. I went in-house, which is kind of unusual for law students because it's hard to go in-house right after. You normally go to a law firm, get experience, and then if you're lucky, you get those in-house gigs. I started in-house at a marketing company, and this was, 2002. So 20 years ago, before Facebook, before everything was online, before the e-commerce world exploded. And so my first job was working with like sweepstakes and promotions and events and more experiential kind of marketing. And I didn't even know you could do that as a lawyer. So that was a really cool experience, talent agreements, things like that. But everything was paper and everything was manual and like sweepstakes tokens. Remember the old Mattel stuff where you'd have the no purchase necessary and then the full list of rules. And there's a funny story about that. But I did that for a while and then went in-house and did more like corporate employment, that sort of thing. I was sort of downsized from in-house. And, like anything, I did that for almost 11 years. After that, you sort of wonder, well, what am I going to do now? I'm, mid 40s. Yeah, what am I going to do? And it was just a great opportunity to kind of claw my way back into the media and advertising world, which is really the stuff I love to do. So it took about 1.5 years, found the spot and, the support at the firm to be able to kind of do what I want and be flexible. And it was great.
So you're right in the mix of a town that's creatively on fire.
Right.
What's it like And from the legal standpoint, how do you see the town? Because a lot of times I'm talking to either A, business people, or B, creatives. Now I'm talking to a person who can, okay, so shout out to my attorneys as we're having this conversation. Threshold and my man Justin Lauder. Shout out to him out there. How do you see it as an attorney?
Well, I think one of the fun things about our job is we sort of take the creative mind, which is not necessarily a lawyer,
I can imagine.
although we have to think creatively, and translate that a bit to, okay, so you've got this piece of art or an idea or a TV show, and there's all these parts and pieces that go into making it. So how do you protect it? How do you make money from it? How do you set up your structure so that you can hold on to this property and create a business out of it? It doesn't always work. I mean, we get calls from people all the time that think they have a good idea, that think they can do something with it, and it may not work. And we'll tell them that also.
Okay, counselor, you're going to have to speak for all the legal eagles that are out there and explain things to us. Let's talk about the value of intellectual property.
Okay.
And because people are out there willy-nilly giving things away every day. Let's talk about that. And then we're going to go over into the world of, protecting, whether it's crypto, and you guys, the idea of, okay, we'll start with intellectual property. Let's give the speech on that, of the importance of it.
Well, depending on what you're creating, there's all kinds of intellectual property. And what I tell people all the time, and maybe my dad told me this, but these assets that you own, whether it's a copyright or a trademark or something in between, it's a little bit like a big bag of marbles. You can roll them, you can share them, you can give them away, you can sell them, you can license them. You're in control if you're the creator, but that kind of goes to setting up the structure and who owns what, whether it's just you, if you've got partners, co-creators, collaborators, whatever it is. Like it's, in music, you have all kinds of, there could be multiple writers on a song, for example, or if it's a trademark and it's owned by an entity or licensed to another entity. So you sort of have to figure out who's going to own it and who's going to control it. And that's the most important thing, I think, for intellectual property.
So it's different with music than writing, all of those things, but the creative folks come to you. How hard is it for you guys to speak to them in a language that they understand?
I mean, it's not hard at all, because that's what we do.
That's what you do.
And we're not we don't do criminal, and we don't do domestic, and we don't do real estate. We really have
This is what you do.
This is kind of what we do. And so I think over time you become used to the issues that maybe someone who's on more of the creative side is worried about, and you can explain it in a way that makes them less worried. And so then you just sort of build some trust with your clients, because you can speak their language a little bit too. Now, I'm not creative. I don't draw or paint or anything like that, but I very much appreciate when somebody creative comes to us with
their idea, because that is their thing. You guys are very specific, and in technology and other areas, we call it scope creep.
Right.
Can you guys do this? And you are here, but that thing, next thing you know, you went a little bit outside your line. How do you guard against that?
Well, I mean, we're all old enough to know what we, I know there's lots of stuff I don't want to do and lots of stuff I can't do. And luckily, having been here for so long and sort of building a network of other attorneys too, we really rely on those relationships to refer out. And also we get business because we don't compete in that way. So a lot of, non-entertainment lawyers will refer to us for specific things as well, because it's an entertainment issue. So I think we have a really a lot of goodwill with other lawyers that we work with. And I know, like, I have go-tos when I have to do something employment related, or haven't had to do anything criminal yet. So that's good.
Is it shocking when people find out that you guys are entertainment lawyers and there's a space for entertainment law here in Richmond?
I mean, the shocking thing is when my own kids don't understand what I do. Like my 14-year-old, I was showing her a picture of a musician or playing something on TikTok. And I said, look, this is a client. And she goes, oh my God, you do music? And I was like, what do you think
we
do all day long, other than driving her around? What do you think we do all day long? So that's kind of funny. But no, it's only it's not really shocking, because like Kirk, my law partner, and Joni, they've been here in the community for longer in this area of law than I have. So when I say, oh, here's where I am, people kind of understand that.
Let's talk about branding. You guys' name is out there in the media and in the social spaces. Your social game is for lawyers, it's on fire because it's not something that you guys, it's not the over the top law firm where they're trying to chase clients down with the whole ambulance chaser thing. Let's talk about what that means to a law firm and your whole image. Because at one point, lawyers, you guys are not out there really hardcore chasing business down.
Right. I mean, I think for me, because I came into it kind of in the middle and I was starting or trying to kind of build something after having had it, somewhat of a career, that as an adult coming into it, not like a young, fresh lawyer, the networking for me and the marketing was really like have coffee with me, sit down. I would go to events, not know anybody. And I was comfortable enough to do that. So the marketing is a little bit more organic, but it's still taken a couple years. Look, I'm
Right.
your radio show. But for entertainment lawyers, of course, we use some social media. We use all the stuff everybody else uses. But again, I think it really goes to having built good relationships in the past and continuing to kind of get out in the community and make yourself known. And because it is a niche, especially like for advertising, that's not the same thing as entertainment. It's not the same thing as IP. So I really try to focus on that part of it because it's just me that I know of right now. It's just me that does advertising.
So on the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond, that's where we are. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1, 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice 105.3. We're there every day, as well as International Business Growth Radio. We're doing things that no one else is out there in the community doing. We're bringing you the game changers. Ashley Brooks is here with us today, entertainment lawyer. Ma'am, what did COVID do to your organization? How has it changed? And is there one thing that you do now that you never would have done before?
Before COVID?
Mm-hmm.
No.
And you're thinking, it kind of works.
Well, so for us, we were so incredibly fortunate because what happened for us is that creators kind of paused maybe their daily work and said, okay, let me get my LLC straight. Let me write a book. Let me record my music. Let me option something I want to make something out of. So for us, it got really busy. In the beginning, I was noticing too, like post-production work was busy. So we wrote a lot of post-production kinds of contracts. Licensing was busy because people stopped taking personal photographs and they were going on to licensing websites and doing a license deal as opposed to a photography deal. So things that industry kind of shifted, and it made us actually busier than not busy, which was great. I don't know many lawyers that didn't get really busy, and I don't know why for everybody else, but I know for us it was because the creative industry kind of shifted to being able to do these things that they couldn't otherwise do when they're busy doing other stuff.
And it's funny that a lot of people did fairly well during COVID, as bad as things were.
Right.
A lot of businesses, morphed into something. I remember talking to the CEO of Elephant Insurance, and he had said, I asked him the same question. He said, remote working would never work.
Right. And
a
here they are, remote working.
month into
Yeah.
it, he says, you know what? We figured out that it does work. So let's talk a little bit about the being the female and women, young girls going into law. I could imagine when people see you and you're a lawyer, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't see me in the courtroom, you're doing this. Let's talk about like from an inspirational aspect when girls or even young boys see you. Like even when your daughter, when she realized what you do, and all of a sudden mom had, street cred all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, she's 14. I don't even know if that counts, but yeah.
And trust me, as a parent, you take what you can get.
Right.
It's
right,
like
right.
even a morsel of something.
Yeah, I always tell the kids they can have it a lot worse, so they shouldn't complain so much.
That is true. We care, imagine when we came up,
If we're embarrassing, you could have it a lot worse.
That is true.
I occasionally will get phone calls from law students that want to know how to get into the space. And actually I was telling my my sitter this the other day, and she's about to get out of college, and we were just talking about different career paths. And to me, the things I tell the new lawyers, it's really not one thing. I mean, if you don't know how to network, it's going to be harder. If you're not comfortable doing like the footwork, it's going to be harder. You have to find a place. I think the more traditional route is, go to a big firm if they want to get into the space that's already doing it, and you learn a lot that way. So neither lawyer at our firm did that. Kirk did for a little while. He was with a big firm, but he really built his own entertainment thing, from the dining room table. And so I tell people coming out in their 20s, like, you kind of have to have a little hustle.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't teach people hustle.
You can't teach people hustle.
You can't. Either you have it or now there's something that may inspire hustle. It's called starvation.
Sure.
Now, but there's so many things. A friend of mine once said, and I was in the Army for a long time, a lot of great things weren't invented in warm, nice places.
Right.
Because you have everything you need. If I'm a big fan I was stationed in Alaska, so I love all the Alaskan shows. They work year round for the time that they can't be outside working.
Right.
So you're forced to do some things. These days, the world has shrunk.
Yeah.
It's not like it was a big world anymore. There's global competition. Everybody's out there. A phone gives you access to the entire world. So the things that you don't know, the only reason is you're not hustling enough because the information is out there.
Well, I think the expectation is that it happens quickly because everything else happens quickly. So why wouldn't my success happen quickly? And that's unfortunately not, like you're saying, you can't teach that. But that's, I think, what it takes. If you don't want to go the traditional law firm route, if you don't want to go and kind of follow the salmon path downstream, and you're going to swim upstream, you just have to have a little bit more of that. And it's not necessarily the top. You don't have to be an A student all the time. That's not really what I mean by hustle, So, and I try to teach my kids that. I hope they have a little of scrappiness in them.
The one thing that as parents, you try and teach your kids, you don't see it because you're with them all the time. It's how other people see your kids and the things that they say. Okay, so what is the process for engaging you guys? I'm out there, I'm a creative. What's the process for contacting your organization and what do I need to bring?
Well, you can find us on the website. It's just schroederbrooks.com, and we're all available to answer calls. I mean, we're pretty good about answering calls. You can call us directly. We'll pick up the phone. Usually what I do, because we tend to be a little bit more giving with our time, which is probably not good for lawyers.
That is true.
But I feel like I give a lot of information. I give a lot, and everyone yells at me about this, a lot of free stuff in the beginning, because it's really important for me to hone in on what exactly we can help you with. Sometimes we can't help you at all. So giving you 15 minutes of my time to tell you that what you have is not something that's going to go much further.
How hard is that?
Oh, I'm terrible at it.
I can imagine.
Can't shut up. I can't stop talking.
I came here. I got the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And you're looking at me saying, this dude has a dud.
My dad's a lawyer. My brother's a lawyer. My husband hears me on phone calls and everyone's like, are you kidding me? You've got to stop talking.
It's because I have something I think that's a winner.
Yeah. Well, and over Christmas break, we were going on vacation, and this really interesting company called me out of the blue, and I was so excited. And I sat on the phone for an hour in the car, which is a billable hour.
You better believe that.
And I sat there and gave him all this great stuff. And I was so excited that I thought, they're going to call me back now because I've just given them some amazing ideas, business ideas, not necessarily legal, but they needed, obviously it was a legal assistance. And then I hung up, and my husband's shaking his head.
He's just shaking his head.
You idiot. Yeah.
They ain't calling back. You just gave the store away.
But that's part of the I think that's part of the create. And that's so to your culture question. I mean, a little bit.
Because we can get excited.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the fun part about it.
That is the fun. I'm on the radio, and next thing you know, I'm talking, and you're excited because it's a topic that you like, and you like helping people. Let's talk about the idea. You guys do a lot in the community. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about community involvement and why it means that much to Schroeder Brooks.
Well, Kirk, my partner, is very involved in the Virginia production group and all the work they do. We're sponsors of the VPA. I tend to take on work sometimes that I just feel is really good, and I'm happy to take it on. I haven't found a project that I want to take on pro bono recently, but I've done that in the past. And I'm from Richmond, so it's been really cool the last couple of years to see all the energy in the arts and all the different things happening, and the national recognition we get, and just the fact that it's right here. Although a lot of our clients are not in Richmond, there's a lot going on in the city, and people are coming here because it is such a nice place to cultivate those creative ideas.
Let's talk about what's going on over at the JCC. you brought that up.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Danny and the guys over there, as well as Nate. Nate's a great baseball player. Plus, he's a Phillies fan too. So shout out to those guys. Let's talk about what it means to you and why you support that organization.
So I've been the president of the board for the last 2 years, and my term is up in May. And you know, it's been getting an MBA in kind of crisis
I can
management,
imagine.
you know, but super fulfilling. And I don't know that I would put so much time into it if I didn't really feel that it's such an important place for Richmond, not just our community, but the greater community.
See, that's the part that, so I got to give a shout out to my friend, Dr. Sarah, because with Friendship Circle, a lot of times if a person sees a JCC, they're not sure it's open to everyone.
Right.
That ain't the case.
Not at all.
You see everybody over there. The facility's outstanding. The people are really cool. So explain to people that you don't have to be Jewish to go to the JCC and all
Right.
the things that it encompasses.
So
there.
honestly, my favorite thing about the JCC is it's raised generations of children that say the Hebrew blessing at Christmas because they're so used to saying it at snack time. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't think of anything more community
That's cool.
engaged than doing that. And you break down all these perceived barriers and this sort of cross, I don't even know not culturalization, but just a knowledge and an awareness. And these kids are so wide open. They leave preschool and they have all this information they didn't have before. And they're open to all these different kinds of people because they're all together at preschool. And I went to preschool there and my kids did. And, I feel very strongly that it is really an institution in Richmond that does so much for everyone. So it's been a lot of, I guess fun is sort of a loose term. The last couple of years, it's been a lot of work.
It has. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in the
Sure.
world that organizations have to take into account. Everything from security to all those
Right.
things that we didn't have to. And
then during COVID, during COVID, just
and-
all the rules, and they've done a phenomenal job.
know.
They've done a phenomenal
Okay,
job.
so Danny Staffenberg was over at one of our summits and he talked about really stepping up when, the COVID, when the pandemic first happened, how they were able to work with the seniors with the mask and the food. So, it's a really great organization. Always have a great time with the folks over there. So on the mic with Mike, Ashley is here with us one last time. How can people reach you?
Schroederbrooks.com, all your entertainment media, advertising, marketing, fashion, and literary publishing, legal needs.
You do look, you're a stylish legal eagle.
Thank
So
you.
maybe, is that part of the fashion part?
No,
No?
I normally sweatpants, so I just
There
said,
you go. See,
up
okay,
my
well,
game on the radio.
well, I
today.
thank you very much. So, shout out to man Jimmy Budd over at RVA Fashion Week. Those guys are doing some phenomenal things. Always great to have them as sponsors of the program. On the mic with Mike, we are out here being the best business radio program around. ESPN Richmond 106.1, 5 to 7 a.m. Wake up with us every day. You never know who we're going to talk to. So thanks a lot. Take care, folks.
Thank you.